All right. That was just an absolute nightmare. You know what? You flying in on the seat of your pants is not going to happen
I was
anymore.
involved in my
I
morning.
mean, I'm telling
I
you
was
what.
involved in my. I was trying to get. I'm trying
People
to
are
get.
listening to me go, I had the audio on. You're not up enough. You're not down
Did
enough.
you
Oh,
really?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey,
So,
that's not my issue.
that's going
That
to get
you have
cut.
the buttons over there. That's not.
Just
Was that really happening?
flying in on the
Seriously?
seat of your pants. And then you stress me out. It's
You
just,
know what? I'm trying to get back to writing every morning, and because I've been
golly.
really bad about that, and I've been in kind of a slow period, and I've been frustrated. I'm like, okay, God, I'm not hearing your voice like
Mhm.
I was. And then it was like I heard, "Be still, just be still, Sherry." And boy, that's hard to do, is just to be still.
You
So
heard, be
I was
nice
trying to be
to
still,
me.
and now
Be nice
now
to your
the
husband.
river's
Is that what you
flowing
heard?
again.
Did you hear the voice say, be nice to your husband?
No, you forgot to push play on that recording last night, I guess. Is that what you filter into my head all night long?
It's subliminal.
No, I mean, so it wasn't
That's
that
too much.
I was buried in my morning routine, which has to
Mm.
be earlier now so that we can be in the studio. What I don't understand is how my seat gets changed and how the camera gets
Sweetheart,
like how things get changed.
everything.
Like
This isn't
it's
CBS.
no, but it's our but
You're not at NBC.
no, but that's our
You're
point.
you're
That's
at
my point. Is it's our studio. No
you're
one is in here but us.
you're in the McCrazy
And
studio. This is it. Where did you think you were, Dan Rather? Huh?
I need my Fox News.
Jenna Bush?
I need my makeup artist. Is what I need. I
So
need some
awful.
help.
What the-
I need a wardrobe and a makeup art. Wouldn't that be nice? Anyway, wouldn't that be
We're
lovely?
starting. Good
I
Lord.
mean,
Welcome
you
to
just said this
iOVERCOME.
morning I'm putting a hat on.
Welcome to iOVERCOME. Yeah, the hat's on today. Welcome to iOVERCOME. We're
I
glad
should
you're
have put
here.
a hat on today. I'm not sure what's happening.
We're glad you're here, and
Anyway.
hope your week was great. We're having a great week so far, and we want to talk about a couple of things today. You were impressed with Isaiah 54:2, which says, enlarge the place of your tent and let the curtains of your habitations be stretched out. Do not hold back. Lengthen your cords and strengthen your stakes. It's interesting.
Well, it's
So,
interesting.
well, first of all,
coming
that's
off,
what they didn't have, like a pop-up. They didn't have a conversion van. They
right.
didn't have that. This is the actual thing. I mean, this is their place of habitation.
Right.
This is where they live.
Right.
So back then, I mean, you look at,
They didn't just build a bigger house.
yeah, they didn't have you didn't have
Right.
you didn't have a house. You had tents. That's what they were like in the wilderness. They
They were
had,
mobile.
they were mobile. They were mobile. All right. Well, anyway, so
Okay, so think about that. Like you and I, actually, we've talked about this often. You know, we've talked about we don't own a home. You know, eventually one day, I guess we would like to own a home, but right now we don't really want that. We don't want to put roots down on
we
a
don't want to put roots
foundation.
down, yeah.
We don't want to put roots down on a foundation where we'll get comfortable and want to stay, because we do feel this nudging of the spirit, you know, to press out. And so, you know, we've talked about at our age, you know, we would probably move on to eternity before we paid off a house. But it's not so much that; it's so much about just getting comfortable and and just digging down roots and not wanting to move. And I think that's what can happen, not just in our physical life, but it can happen in our spiritual life
Right.
too. And I think that verse spoke to me this morning, because I feel like right now, and you and I have talked about this before, social media, the algorithm that we engage in, um, puts us in a pretty small pond. It puts us in a small pond, and then we start to feel like we have to be in the same pond with the same fish and the same fishermen, the same, everything's got to be the same, and we get uncomfortable when we get outside of that familiar pond. We get
Right.
uncomfortable. It's time to get uncomfortable. I
Yeah.
feel like we've got to we have to know what people outside of our infinity group are
Yeah.
dealing
So
with.
let's talk
So,
about. So I was talking to a person the other day, and I was saying, if I could give any advice to you, looking back on my life, which I never thought I'd be doing, but and
you're
the
there.
one thing that I realized is that my pond was too small, meaning that and my pond was church, friends, work, everything was in the same pond, and
Right.
it was all consuming. And what it really did was it didn't allow me to go out and be a more complete person. I mean, it only allowed me to see what was right in front of me. And then what happened was I started to please the pond. I started to only
Right.
listen to what the pond was saying.
Right.
I only had desires to be, a bigger fish in the pond. I mean, it was just one thing. So the pond became toxic. And actually, the system was toxic, but it became more toxic. And in fact, I believe that you could be in a beautiful pond and it still becomes toxic if that's the only pond you're in, meaning if that's all you see. Okay. So I think that too but I just said, please increase your pond. You can still have your family, you can still have your hobbies, you still have your work, but there's something else that needs to expand in your life. And so I think the Israelites, during Isaiah's time, Israel was in a season where they were struggling, and it seems like they're always in a season of struggling. But God is going to
Yeah,
do
they're
something.
always in a season of struggle
Yeah,
and overcoming. I
right.
mean,
But
that's
Isaiah's instruction to them is enlarge the place of your tent, let the curtains of the what God's doing, or what God is doing in their lives hasn't yet happened. But Isaiah is saying, go ahead as if it's going to happen. Enlarge the place. So this blessing is going to happen. Enlarge your tent, your curtains, your habitation. Stretch it out. Do not hold back. Lengthen your course. It's almost like something is going to be like it's like a storage barn in a way. Go ahead and you know you might not have the crops to fill it yet, the wheat to fill it,
but
but
build
build it
it.
as if you're going
Yeah.
to have it. Like what was it in the movie?
Field of Dreams.
Field a dream, build it, and they will come.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Field of
So,
Dreams.
okay. So that, yes,
And
it's kind of like
actually,
that's kind of what that is. Build it,
yeah.
and so, but
And
God is.
actually, I worked for a church that was a beautiful church, and they actually named their athletic program Field of Dreams, and they built it because there was a lot of
Mhm.
difficult things happening in the community, and the kids needed a place to come and gather and play sports. And they called it the Field of Dreams. Pretty much, if we
Yeah.
build the fields, if we prepare the land, they will come. And that fed the ministry of that church for many, many years. In fact, I remember being on the field one
That's a
time.
beautiful story too. I mean, because they didn't know what was going to happen.
They didn't
They did.
know,
They probably had an understanding of where they were and what was going on in the community, but they built it not having anybody really. Well, not having
they
anybody
didn't have a
there.
sports program.
They
No.
didn't have
And
it.
I think back on it now, being in church leadership, looking at the determination that it took to plow that land and to
Mhm.
build athletic fields where there were people in the background going, I can't believe that we're going to use our property to put a ball field in. I can
Oh,
imagine the pushback.
there was pushback.
Yeah, I can imagine that. And so I think a lot of times we're afraid to expand our territory. We're afraid to be
Yeah.
bold and courageous because we're afraid of what other people might think if we do that. I
Mm.
think that's what holds us back. And so I don't know why. It's interesting because you preached on it Sunday. I woke up with that verse on my heart this morning. We had a conversation over the weekend, where it was like, well, if you fish in the same pond, the pond gets small sometimes. And what happens if a
Mhm.
pond is overpopulated with fish? Or what happens if the pond um stops moving and becomes stagnant? It basically chokes out the oxygen. Like it everything in it dies. And I think
Mhm.
sometimes our spirit feels like it's shriveling up and dying because our pond has gotten too small. It's choking us out. It's comfortable. Look at all of
Well,
the
that was like in Canton. We when we the we had filled up the services,
mm,
and we were like, how do we alleviate this pressure?
Mm.
And then we were like going, okay, so we're just sort of doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different result. Like, how is it magically going to find more seats, more parking, more
Right.
all that? It's not going to happen.
Right.
And so, what did we do?
We
We
expanded our
created another
territory.
pond off campus,
Right.
and we had people that went from our contemporary that
Actually,
were
we have many in our church
now
now
that were from that.
that were from
Yeah,
that expanding. Yeah,
yeah.
and then this is just how the sickness of a system works like that, you know. You leave and the new pastor coming in can't see the
Yeah,
vision.
his
Can't
his brain
see, is
wasn't big
so
enough.
narrow-minded,
Yeah.
cannot see the vision,
Mm-mm.
and the second Sunday closes it down.
I got pictures
And
of
it
that thing. I got pictures of that year where there's just it's filled. I mean, we went from the movie theater to an off-campus coffee house that sat like 100 people in it. I mean, it was just and we had people coming that weren't comfortable going up into a
right.
sanctuary, into a
Right.
traditional
We
sanctuary
created another expression of
place. Yeah.
worship.
So it was cool. And I think like I could have sat there and have been happy and just said, "Oh yeah,
Not my problem.
not my problem. We've
I
got
I have
plenty
a
of
pulpit to preach from. Not my
yeah,
problem.
yeah,
Y'all
I've got
figure
a
out.
guaranteed a pull-up appointment and and oh please I hope COVID comes so I don't have to work nearly as hard." And so I I could have done all of that. And but we chose and this is the thing about when you expand your pond, when you want to grow, you have to work. Like you have to work. I
Right.
like so in the
And it
church.
puts you out of your comfort
Oh,
zone.
so the churches that we grew together with God, like they flashed, they got big. And you know what I found? What do you think I got the most pushback from?
The ones who didn't want it to get
The
big.
people that were being paid in they loved the little pond. Why?
It's
'Cause
comfortable.
they didn't have to work.
It was
They didn't
comfortable.
there was not a lot of people there.
But you look at biblically, and we'll get off the church thing because, oh, we could go
But I
on
think
for
those are
hours about that.
but I think those are
But
dangers, like, why don't you want to increase the pond? Because it's gonna take more work. Why don't because you're comfortable, because you know what? Down deep in our heart, we like the jacuzzi. Like, we preached
well,
on that on
and
Sunday.
I think it's
We like the temper just like
yeah,
the unknown is too much for us to handle. Fear, will it work? I mean, all of these
insecurity. I think
yeah,
it's insecurity. I
insecurity,
think
yeah.
that people are afraid that another star will shine brighter or another leader will rise out of that spreading a larger territory, and people are
Yeah.
insecure. They want to hold on to their power. And so I think that's what, we can look at the church as a classic example of
Yeah, but your system, it's not always the
but
it's
it's
obvious it's that's
everywhere.
our system,
Yes,
but
it's
it's in any business, it's in any family, it's in
yeah.
your own
Friend
system.
groups, even community,
Yeah.
I mean, and friend groups go through, and we look back on our lifetime. If you have, they say, if you have a handful of close friends at the end of your life, you are a blessed person, because the truth is your friends. I look back, and the friends that I had over the life of almost 60 years were connected to my situation. So I had friends in school, and I had friends when my kids were playing ball and we were all sitting in the field for hours together on end. And I had friends. So my friends kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit, and that's okay. We don't have to hold on so tight. There's some that will see us through every season. But when you look at the biblical leaders that were asked to get uncomfortable. I mean, think about Moses. So Moses flees, right? He kills a slave, which he doesn't realize the compassion on his heart is because he really truly was an Israelite, right? He
Mhm.
wasn't an Egyptian. He was the baby
Mhm.
Moses that was put in the river, right? And brought up out of the
Yeah.
water and raised as an Egyptian. But he felt, this compassion for this mystery. So he flees, he goes out into the wilderness, becomes a goat farmer. Think about how peaceful his life was.
Mhm.
Until the burning bush comes, that moment, and he hears God say, "This is what I need you to do. I need you to be this voice piece for me." So he goes back into Egypt to be then led back out into the Exodus wilderness. So think about that story. Think about Esther. She was living with this secret, I mean, and everybody goes, "Oh, she was like a Cinderella story, she was handpicked to be this queen." Okay. No, she was actually taken from the only little bit of family that she knew. She was taken from her people group. She was taken from everything comfortable. And yeah, she was put in a palace, but she was set apart. So she was alone a lot. And so you look at Ruth, and Naomi, you look at Ruth. Ruth left her comfortable homeland to be with Naomi. Abraham, we talked about that on Sunday, was asked to, pick up his stuff and move, and how do you think Sarah handled that? Where are we
Yeah.
going? We'll
So
know when we get there.
right. So
you
you're
know?
you're describing human nature where, it's there's never we talked about on Sunday, like, the your pond doesn't grow in comfortable places. Your pond is not going to grow where you have complete control over everything. I mean, you see the vicissitudes of all these people that you named, going into comfort, coming out of the wilderness, going back in, and all of those things. And I
Mhm.
think that's your first understanding is that if you're having questions of why am I not feeling, satisfied? Why do I have this angst? What am I having question like, what is my purpose? What's my legacy? Did I do enough? I mean, why am I not fulfilled? I mean, all of these are questions because your pond has shrunk to a place
Yeah.
that it's not,
Or you've outgrown your
you've
pond.
outgrown your pond. And
Yeah.
so I think that God with Israel is saying, I see in you great things.
Mm.
I need you to start preparing. And I think for a lot of us, it's not like a resource problem. It's literally a vision problem. Like we have the resources, we have the gifts, we have the brain, it's just our vision is too small. Like it doesn't we shrink our vision way below the our capacity for output. And when that
Mhm.
happens, it just nothing works. I mean, your vision has to be larger than your resources. Because then what happens is God increases your gifts, increases your
Mhm.
drive, and he can work with that. He can't work with it's like Abraham. He said, "Okay, you want children? Well, let me show you. Just look up." And he showed him all the stars.
Right.
Like, that's vision.
Right.
Like, that's vision that Abraham would never realize. That'd be after he's dead.
Right.
Jesus started with 12.
Right.
What did he end up with? He was crucified with nobody.
Yeah, they all left him.
All left him.
Yeah.
Now, billions.
I think, when you just said that, that's what makes my heart, I think, break is, he brought up the disciples, and then when the crucifixion happened, they didn't understand all the things he was preparing them for. They didn't understand the vision of
Yeah,
it.
people will crucify
And
you
they
because of the vision. Trust
Yeah,
me.
and they left him. But I
Yeah.
think about now as disciples of Jesus, right? I a lot of times, I know when we first started doing missions, I know when I first started working in the church, and I really was not a fan of global mission. My vision was too small. I was like, you know what? And I know you're going to resonate with this because people say it all the time still. And I was one of those ones that said it. I don't need to get on a plane and go anywhere because there's enough need right here in my
Yeah,
community.
I was like that too.
That's true. But the problem is we get comfortable in our community and we think
Yeah.
about the things we could do and we talk about the things that we can do, but we don't do it because we're comfortable and we put it off. We'll do it tomorrow. The first time I went on a mission trip, I only went because I was asked to go with a group of students, and I was the more mature leader on the trip, the older one on the trip. And my
Yeah,
kids
let's make sure we understand that. You were the
and my
mature, not the wiser. You were probably the wiser, but you
I
were the oldest one.
yeah, I mean, I was the
Yeah.
oldest one on the trip, and my one of my kids was on the trip, so of course I'm gonna go and be mom to all of those students because not only was I a staff member, but I was also a parent, and so, I went, but what I realized when I went was that when you are stripped from your comfort, and I'm talking the little things, a bed that you lay in, Like
Mhm.
we walked into a bunkhouse and were told to pick out of a massive pile of foam that looked like it had been eaten by rats.
Mhm.
Pick one, that's your bed. When there's no hot water, when you look up and the big rat that ate the foam is now running across the board across the ceiling where all the students are. When you get in that place, the food isn't familiar. Everything's off. You become vulnerable to hear the Spirit. You become vulnerable to see how the Spirit is moving. You're stripped from that. And so I think we have to understand that when we get uncomfortable, and no, some of us are not called to get on a plane and do global missions, but we're called to be disciples. If we have the love of Jesus in our heart and we've been given the power and presence of the Holy Spirit and we have access to his word, let's not leave Jesus. Let's not leave him like the disciples left him. Let's carry this out that we're called to carry out. It may be that we're just called to sit with someone and talk to them about Jesus. It might mean that we're called to mentor someone who's a little, who's brand new in their faith. And if you're a little further ahead down the road, then you have been called. You have been called to get uncomfortable so that you
Mhm.
can sit alongside someone else. And when I worked in children's ministry, I had to run 40 some volunteers every Sunday. And everybody would say to me, "Well, I don't know how to teach, or I don't know enough about the Bible." And I said, "If you get uncomfortable, trust me, you'll learn and you'll grow in your own journey because you're working to help someone else." And
Mhm.
so I think that's when Isaiah says, spread your tent wide and, expand your territory. We are called as followers of Christ to expand our territory.
Mhm.
It may be in your community. It may be getting on a plane. I mean, I follow someone in ministry that she is like my rock star. I mean, she's um in a war-torn country right now, sharing the gospel of Jesus. She is not afraid to go anywhere. I admire her so much and I grow from her. I've not been called to do that, or maybe I am. Maybe that's why I admire her so much. But the point is if you're not called to move beyond your community, then do something in the place that you're at.
Mhm.
Don't just think about it. Don't just talk about it. Because I think when we start understanding that we are disciples so that we can then disciple others, that's the beauty of the church. That's the church,
Mhm.
not a brick and mortar building. It's a constant growth, it's a constant pouring into one another, it's a constant coming alongside one another. But we have to get uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
and so, yeah,
the
and that
biggest tragedy is staying in a place of
staying
comfort.
in the place of God.
Yeah.
And look, there's so many, whether like businesses, you just see businesses when technology is changing, and that's what has killed so many businesses when technology, like, what was it, Kodak.
Yeah, who moved my cheese
Yeah,
in?
like the Who Moved My Cheese is a great, it is literally this, like increase your pond. Don't stay and expect people to come back, and you got to go and find them and change your methods and you got to adapt. And so, but like, Blockbuster's a great example. They didn't adapt. They didn't, they said, everybody's going to come and rent and pay the late fees. Well, yeah, for a while until somebody thought of something better called streaming,
Right.
and like, you can get it on your phone. I mean, so they said, "Oh no," but then again, that's why we have cars. Some dude said, "No, the horse will is gonna be no, what could be? No one's gonna buy that thing. We ride horses. That's a buggy. It pulls a buggy." Well, you know what? That the buggy store died because Ford invented the car.
Yeah.
And so, so you've got these, or whoever invented the first car, I think it was Ford, but you've got moments that are proven in business, and it's no different for your personal life. It's no in business, the church, it's no different. It's the same principle. And I think that when I look back at that Isaiah 54 statement, there is there is a stake. He says lengthen the stakes, and that makes me think of the foundation. Like I'm not gonna like all of this is in preparation of what is about to happen in your life. God hasn't done anything in their lives yet. This is all of Isaiah saying getting prepared. Like and I think that preparation is the most important part, like spiritual preparation. If you want more abundance, well, how much time are you spending with Jesus? If you want more abundance, how much time are you in his word? If you want more abundance, how much time are you building your altars? I mean, Abraham built altars to honor God. How much time are you in worship? How much time are you in service? How much time are you pruning out the world and lifting and growing your spirit? I mean, again, it's all about the lengthening of the stakes, the foundation in which you're preparing.
Right.
And like, I look at Noah. Noah built the ark before the rain came.
Right.
You've got
Right.
you've got the greats that are
That's the obedience part.
yeah,
That's
like before the walls came down, Joshua was marching around them, I mean, there's just time there is just example after example of people of the promise that hasn't been delivered yet, but people have said, but they believe it's going to happen, and they prepared themselves, and they rose to the occasion if that was the case, or they received it in the blessing, and they said thank you because they were spiritually. I mean, look at what the lepers did. They all they were all healed by Jesus. Only one came back because his heart was in line. Like it was that moment, like, okay, I know who did this. The others went off back into their worlds.
right.
Like, who cares?
I'm healed.
I'm healed.
Good to
I don't
go.
care. Because their foundation, but his foundation was
This
oriented.
was a miracle.
Yeah, this was a miracle.
This was
His
a
eyes were open.
miracle,
So
right.
I think that, for me, I'm I wanna be able to. I think we all need to be looking at the curtains, the cords, the how big our vision is. Those are all metaphors. The stakes, how deep they are. And, are we move and really it comes down to, are we moving in faith? Do we trust that God do you trust that God is going to grow your business? Okay, let's just start there. Yes, I do. Do I trust God is going to grow the church? Yes, I trust. Do I trust he's going to make me the best husband that I can be? Oh, I pray. Pray. I trust. I trust.
It's
I'm
so
reminded
funny.
what I'm not. So
It's
I mean,
so funny because literally before you said that,
what? Oh yeah,
what
here we
popped in
go.
my head was Misery Loves Company. Like that's popped in my head is that Misery Loves Company. How funny you would say that. But you know what? You get a bunch of women together who are frustrated with their husbands. And what are they doing?
Oh,
They're
they
not talking
hammer 'em.
about they're not talking about the blessings that those
No,
men are in their lives. They're talking about all the things that make them
they're
crazy.
not doing.
And so it's funny you would bring up you would bring that up because what I was honestly thinking about was the pond that you're in. If everyone in your pond is miserable,
Yeah.
it's time to find a new fishing hole.
You got to get a new set of
It's time to
fish.
find a new fishing hole
So
because
yeah,
it will bring you down. I mean, I
Yeah, it
have
does.
been in those situations.
Oh yeah.
It's funny because I have moments where I see right now, and I guess it's my algorithm that I'm in. You got the political thing happening. Everybody's chewing each other up on that, and we're totally losing vision of I don't even know that we know what we're fighting for anymore. And now you've got the church, and I'm sure it's the algorithm because it's what I do professionally.
No kings. That's what.
But you've got the church now chewing each other up, tearing everybody up. Everybody's got it wrong. Everybody's doing something wrong. And we're missing the main point, right? We're missing the main thing. And so I thought to myself, I'm getting off social media because I really just can't deal with this anymore because it's my algorithm has brought me into these smaller ponds that are making me literally sick to my stomach. And then I read somebody puts, basically don't throw away social media because maybe you're in that spot
influence
to to clean out the bacteria.
Yeah.
Maybe you're in that spot to clear out the disease. Maybe you're in that spot. Maybe you're in that spot to be a voice of truth and wisdom.
Yeah.
And so that's an interesting
Yes.
dichotomy, because if you stay, you're either going to be taken down into the depths of
Yeah.
the unhealthiness, or you're going to rise up as a leader. And so
Like, what did we, what did I do yesterday? I mowed the grass, put
yeah,
down
we
pine
did. It was
straw.
all
And
house.
what did you
Yeah.
do? And you like, and I even said I'd vac, but we had like a sweeping out
Yeah, we needed to
of our
clean.
tent.
Yeah.
Like we just, and I'm
Yeah.
about to do the garage to sweep out, but I mean, and I think that's part of this as well. And I think that's part of Jesus says the sweeping out the yeast is critical.
Mm,
Because a little bit of yeast infects the
the
whole
whole,
batch.
right.
But to sweep out the yeast and to sweep out the things that are unclean. And I think that before you even start to prepare you have to look at your own heart, the tent. Where is it? What needs to be swept out? How do you need to make room for Jesus, the one that wants to bless you, the one that wants to bring you joy and abundance? And it's not like you're going to be skipping around in Six Flags the rest of your life with them, because the work is hard. A relationship with Jesus is not easy, but it's glorious. It's the only thing that brings satisfaction. When I'm stretching myself and sacrificing and giving and doing the hard things, that's the greatest joy. I
Right.
mean, I'm trusting my Lord. I'm walking with him in faith,
Right. Right.
because that's what he did for me on a cross. He died so that I can have life. And I know that when I die, I'll be with him in eternity. But while I still have life, I'm not to, and I can enjoy this world certainly, but it's not going to own me. I can enjoy the things that I have, but they're not going to be my gods. I'm going to be able to give them up, sell them, move away from them, do whatever I need to do. I don't need much. I've never needed much, just needed Jesus. And I think that that's where you have to first take a good look at your heart. What do you need and what do you want? And if it's not Jesus, then you're going to always, I promise you this, you're going to always want more.
Actually, I think we're going to talk about, I think that's going to be our kickoff for this 4-week series on Jesus saying, I didn't say that. I think a lot of times we do follow the desires of our heart.
Mhm.
And Jesus says, delight in me. Delight in me. That desire needs to first come for God. And that was disturbed in the garden. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what happened. And
Good,
so
good. Yeah, that's
we
good.
have desires. We have a lot of desires, but are they selfish desires, or are they desires that are going to bring life and fruit? Or are they aligned with who God is and his spirit? And so I think
Yeah.
that when we understand that, because it is a heart issue first, then we can understand this, maybe the pond that we're in is unhealthy for us.
Mhm.
And it doesn't mean that we have to walk away completely, but it might be time to,
Clean it out.
or start fishing in a new pond.
Well, I think it's all of it. I think
Yeah.
you got to clean it out,
Yeah.
increase it, as God says. You got to strengthen the foundation. It all goes together. Increase the capacity, strengthen the cords. You got to get the foundation right. The last thing he says is don't hold back. Don't limit God's vision. Don't limit your own vision. Don't let other people limit your vision. Don't let people stop you. Don't let your light be covered by the bushel. Put it in the center room. Go out and shine, and don't let anything. I just think when we start looking at it like that, we're free. But look, what's the old adage? You chain an elephant to a pole, and over the years you chain a wild animal to a pole, and from birth, and you unchain it, it's not going to move. It's
You've
trained to
stunted
stay.
their
Yeah,
you've
it's
stunted their
trained to be
growth.
that far from the pole.
Yeah, you've stunted their
It's
growth.
really hard to move out. And so, yeah, your habits, your patterns, your narratives, your ways of thinking have made you do certain things over and over, and it's hard to get out. I look at people stuck. I look at people, and they're going through the motions at work. They're going, and they use the excuse, well, I don't have any, I don't, this is my job. Well, I don't know. Is it your job? Have you looked? Have you gone out into the wilderness? I mean, quit and go, oh, honey, I don't like my job. I quit. What's your plan? I didn't have one. No, you got to have a plan. You got to look at but I'm just saying, have you challenged the systems that you're in and the narratives that you're in to see maybe is God trying to get you out of those places and make you look towards something larger or at least more fulfilling? Um, and Sherri and I did that, and we've been blessed because of it. So, has it been easy? No, it hasn't been easy. Been hard? Yeah. Have we stayed up late at night wondering what is God going to do? Yeah. But you know what? We're blessed every day by it.
Mm.
Where people are being transformed by it. People are, and
That's when you know that only God could put
oh
the
yeah,
dots
yeah,
together
yeah,
like
yeah,
that. And
yeah,
that is a it's a hard place to say, okay, I'm willing to do it. It's a wrestling for sure. But
yeah,
you don't see the beauty of it until you actually surrender to it.
yeah.
And then you start to say, wow,
Yeah, it's
only
incredible.
God could make that happen.
Yeah.
And that's when you start really living by faith and
Gosh, you
not
know
by
what?
sight. So,
It's like I lived in a system for so long that said no to everything I wanted to try to do. I mean, really, like the
oh,
only thing I tried to do is let's figure out how to, and I've said this before, I was told no by people in positions of authority. Like, how are we going to love people better? No, not going to do that. We're not going to try that. I mean, it's so freeing not to hear the word no. Now, we hear doubt, we hear still doubt, but it's not no. You know what I
well,
mean?
I think it's
It's just
it's the
freeing to be in a
freedom
system like that.
to, like, yeah, we have to plan a calendar and a schedule, but there's a freedom to allow the spirit to move. And like on Sunday, we had, a young girl in our church that came up to us, and her mom had found these little stickers and these little cards.
Yeah,
And
Susan's kid. Yeah, that's
yeah,
cool.
and she said, my mom and I found these, and we kind of went through and put them in here, and we were wondering if we could just like let everybody draw one each Sunday and just use it as a way to like pray or connect. Or And I said to her, I said, love it. Love it. She was, really? And I was like, love it.
Come up here and
How would you like
introduce
to
it.
do
Yeah.
it? And I told her, I said, you never know. Someone that's been praying or struggling
Yeah.
with something might pull out one of those cards that's affirmation to them. And it happened to be my daughter. And so
Oh yeah,
afterwards,
that's
I was
cool.
able to tell her that, but my daughter had already gone to her and say, "You have no idea the scripture that I pulled out of that bucket was the word that I so desperately needed to hear."
But a kid
And
on the south
so
side,
what it did,
what did the kid on the south side? Same day, kid on the south side
yeah,
comes up to us, says, "You know what? I'm going to Africa.
on a
Can
mission
I tell
trip.
the church about what I'm doing and see if they want to?" I was like, "We've nurtured this kid since he was 11. He's been in the church since 11. Now
Yeah.
he's going, and I know this kid's going to do some amazing things for Jesus as he grows. He's already got a heart for it,
He's another one that you're
just
like,
like,
"Okay,
yeah,
God
sure,
is
take the stage. We don't have anything, but the only thing we have planned is just letting the Holy Spirit do what it does." And
Yeah, and
like,
he's pretty soft-spoken, but he got up there and
yeah,
he said, "I didn't really plan this, but he spoke from his heart."
Holy Spirit, yeah,
And it was beautiful, it was well communicated, and I told him, I said, "If you say yes to God, get ready to be uncomfortable,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because you will be uncomfortable, but get ready to watch him show off and
So,
show out, because
s-
God does, he shows up every single
so
time."
maybe if anything, as we close this, the challenge is this: challenge yourself to look at your tent and your
Mhm.
pond. They're metaphors for your life, your heart, everything. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to clean it out. Maybe sell it and get a new one. Maybe jump out into another one. Maybe combine. I don't know what God is trying to, but you are never going to, if you're in that, and let me say this, you might be in the greatest place. Good for you. You might already be doing this. The chords, the stakes, awesome. We're so happy for you. Guess what? God still is going to ask you to do what?
Get
Get
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable. Get the vision. Get a bigger vision.
Yeah.
If you've got get a bigger vision. Get a bigger. So challenge yourself, guys, today and watch what God can do. We cannot wait to see you tomorrow with the
Tomorrow
men,
morning.
and then
Yeah.
again on Thursday, and then again Thursday night, and then back in Atlanta with worship on Saturday, then worship on Sunday, and then we do it all over again. And we just can't wait to be with you guys. So expand, jump, trust, leap, faith. Watch what God will do. We cannot wait to see you.
Amen.
Oh, wait, I'm not ready yet. We cannot wait to see you again. Wait, I'm not ready yet. Hang on. Okay, we cannot wait to see you again. May God bless you.
Have a great day.
We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.